The New Orleans Saints do have the day off today in that sort of bonus week that the NFL has started instituting between the end of the third preseason game and week one. Remember, it used to be 4 weeks of the preseason. In eliminating that fourth preseason game and adding a regular season game, they just took that fourth preseason game and moved an extra week to the end of the season. They didn't compress the schedule. So this is just a bonus week where teams get a couple of practices, a week to maybe heal up some injuries and get ready for week one. So the Saints aren't practicing. They'll take the weekend. They'll start their game week preparation next week for Arizona. And if you missed it, we talked about it yesterday. The Arizona Cardinals are a 6.5-point favorite over the New Orleans Saints next Sunday in the Dome. Muse looked up the numbers for us yesterday. A year ago in the NFL, there were 9 games the entire season. 9 the entire season that were the spread in the NFL was a touchdown or more. Now, this is a half a point under a touchdown in fairness, but just for context, and the first wasn't until week 10 last year. The Saints are a 6.5-point home underdog to Arizona. That should give you some context on what the expectations are for this New Orleans Saints team. And the greatest New Orleans Saint of all time, Drew Brees, was on Sports Talk with Mike Detillier and Steve Geller on Thursday, and he's eternally optimistic. And I love that about Drew Brees, but this is also why Drew Brees could never be a legitimate analyst, because he is, God love him, he's incapable of looking at truth involving this team. Like, for example, this was Drew Brees talking about the Saints offense, and he mentions the New Orleans Saints offensive line. Give a listen.
Look, offensively, we have as good an offensive line as anybody in the league. We have explosive receivers outside. We've got one of the most dynamic running backs in the league. So you'd say, really, hey, the thing you're waiting to see is how does the quarterback position perform, right? For guys that are just young and don't have a lot of experience.
Muse, can I hear just the beginning of that clip again in case you missed it again? This is Drew Brees, who's going into the Pro Football Hall of Fame next year, who is the greatest New Orleans Saint of all time and in the conversation for the greatest athlete having the greatest impact in the history of Louisiana sports. This was Drew Brees talking about the New Orleans Saints.
We have as good an offensive line as anybody in the league.
Okay, that's all. I agree wholeheartedly that the New Orleans Saints have invested more in their offensive line than any other team in the league. You've got 4 first-round draft picks tied up in this offensive line with Cesar Ruiz, Trevor Penning, Taliesin Fuaga, and now Kelvin Banks as well, who, by the way, I am very excited about Kelvin Banks and the possibilities there. But we're talking about a guy at right guard in Cesar Ruiz, who's a former first-round draft pick, who last year in 2020, in the 2024 season, his offensive grade was a 72.6. This year in the preseason, in 2 preseason games, his grade was a 48.7. Trevor Penning has been now in his 3rd year in the NFL in 3 different positions, I guess you could say, or 4th year in 4 different positions. Injured left tackle, right tackle a year ago, now left guard. The Saints did not pick up his 5th-year option, and rightfully so, because he hasn't proven he can be a quality, capable starting NFL offensive lineman. That's your left guard, so you have arguably the worst guard tandem in the NFL. I do like your young tackles very, very much. I think Fuaga and Kelvin Banks could ultimately be very good players, and Erik McCoy, when healthy, is among the top centers in the NFL. He certainly, I would say, he's in the top 10 among the starting centers in the NFL. But last year, he played, it was just a real challenge for Erik McCoy a year ago to stay on the field. And so what do you make of that with a guy that didn't play much for you a year ago? I mean, we could pick apart the rest of the Saints team, but you could start right there. When you look at this offensive line, which has so much invested in it that I don't think anybody would look at Ruiz as a quality starting offensive lineman. He's probably the lowest rated starter among offensive guards in the NFL. And then Penning, if he's healthy, coming off the toe injury, is trying to work his way back to it. Listen, you can take my word, my opinion for it. For whatever it's worth, ESPN did their position rankings. They went through and looked at every position and ranked every position group 1 to 32 in the NFL heading into this year. And the New Orleans Saints offensive line, they don't have it as the worst, but they have it 22nd out of 32. So they're ranking the New Orleans Saints offensive line as a unit 10 from the bottom, in the bottom half of the league. I mean, Brees says that they're as good as anybody. Really? When you look at the Eagles with Jordan Mailata and Lane Johnson, we're going to sit here and compare that? I mean, I'm not just trying to sit here every day and dogpile on this team. I'm just trying to hammer into people's brains before they tee it up and kick it off and play it for real what the reality is going to be for this team. And I'm telling you straight up, when we start talking about games, you are going to hear my tone change from overtly critical to what are the positives that we're trying to glean from what's going to be an ugly season. Because what I am hopeful for, and I'll repeat this again, I am not expecting this team to win a lot of games. I think they're a 5-win team at best, and I may have to recalibrate that considering the Saints are going to be a touchdown dog at home against Arizona. But what I am wanting to see is Kelvin Banks prove he can be your franchise left tackle. I'm wanting to see Brian Brzee assert himself now in his third season as a true, legitimate impact interior defensive lineman. I'm wanting to see that Kool-Aid McKinstry proves he's ready to be a starting NFL corner on the boundary. Do you have young safety talent with Jordan Howden, Jonas Senker? Can those guys be that? What about Quincy Riley? Is Danny Stutsman ready to prove that he's the heir apparent to Demario Davis? Stutsman looked great in the preseason, but when you play him for real and for keeps in the regular season, it's a different speed. How does that translate? Those are the types of things I'm excited to. Are we finally ready to see Kendre Miller prove he could be an impact guy on Sundays? Those are the things that I'm going to be looking for come September 7th when they play Arizona. Not wins and losses. But that's the thing that I am trying right now. I'm trying to stress for everyone that listens to the show on any given day is to understand what should be a realistic expectation. Like, it is great to wrap yourself in black and gold and shout "Who dat" and be excited about a season coming and all this stuff, but you got to be realistic. Because what I don't want to hear is this team goes on a 6-game losing streak, fire Kellen Moore, the quarterbacks suck, they draft terrible. Like, they're going to be bad. It's where they have reset the franchise. You've got 2 young tackles. You're going to have a quarterback that's never won a game, a rookie head coach, an aging defense, and a whole bunch of young players that are trying to get experience. And I'm excited about those young players trying to get experience. But you got to be realistic about what they are. And what they are as a team that ain't going to win very much.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.